Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Sam Meyer Boardroom. This afternoon, we're thrilled to welcome some very special and honored guests to our beloved college, and I want to thank you all for taking time. I know everybody's trying to get things wrapped up at the end of the semester, but today is really a special day for Laredo College, a historic day for Laredo College, as we welcome our friends from the Matias de Llano Charitable Trust Foundation. And they're coming with some wonderful news for us, and certainly to share with us some of their hopes and dreams for our college. And we welcome all of their support and all of their ideas, because we are this community's college. And our mission is to continue to support and provide the instructional development and workforce development for our community. And so we're very happy to welcome all of you here today. Thank you for being here. I do want to take a moment to recognize some of our trustees. The president of the Laredo College Board of Trustees, Ms. Lupita Cepeda. The vice president of the trustees, Mr. Jorge J.D. Delgado. And trustee, recently reelected, Mr. Esteban Rangel. And it's, every now and then you meet people who are not only dynamic, but are committed and incredibly aware and enthused about the future and what the future holds for our community, and who is willing to make the commitment by putting their money where their mouth is all the time. And I'm extremely honored to welcome Mr. Dennis Nixon from the International Bank of Commerce, but also chairman of the trust, of the Matias de Llano Trust. Mr. Nixon is no stranger to Laredo College, but no stranger to education at all. He truly believes in what education can provide, and truly believes in what the development of workforce programs can do for an economy and for industry. And so, Mr. Nixon, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts, but more importantly, we thank you on behalf of the 11,000 students that are studying here at Laredo College for your commitment to higher education and to this community. Equally, I'd like to thank the trustees of the trust, and you'll introduce them shortly, but I want to thank you all for being here and for your commitment on behalf of the trust to Laredo College and to our students and our programs. So, Mr. Nixon, if you'll join me at the podium, I know you have a few words to add to that.
Thank you very much, Benita. Glad to be here today. As you said, we're all interested in education and the growth that education brings in the population, and certainly the college has been a major force in that for a long, long time. And so, Lupita, we thank you for your leadership. All of the trustees have done a great job out here, especially in the recent years, where the whole place has become a real source of value to this community. As a workforce group, we are really dedicated to trying to get people to work, because we have a lot of empty spots at IBC. So anybody that you send us, we're happy to interview them and find a place for them. We only run about 85 to 90% full employment, so we're constantly in need of people, and anything that can happen here is really, we thank you very much for it. I also want to thank Doug Howland and Rudy Miles and Larry Norton, who's on our trust committee, who also made this decision, and we continue to support the community. We really are very, very grateful for their support over the years and the things that they know. They're from here, they understand the community, so their decisions are reflective of what we think is best to happen here. And of course, Lisa and Anna, who run our trust department, are part of that whole process as well. The vocational education area is something that I've been really focused on for a long time. I think one of the great mistakes that we made, and we see it in over $1 trillion worth of student debt out there. A lot of people have aspirations for college education, and I have nothing against that. but also there's an enormous demand out there for the trades. And through the process over the years, they had developed usually father to son and father to grandfather, or whatever, that taught the trades. And so when we lost that connection, and then we relied on basically in this country, the junior college system at the time to really support the trades, where you wanted to learn how to be a welder or a plumber or electrician, you came to a local community college and you learned that trade. And that was basically abandoned with this whole emphasis just on a 4-year college education, and that's important. There's no question it is, but not at the sacrifice of the trades. And so thank you for taking that on again, and we really salute you and compliment you for that initiative, because we do need plumbers, electricians. I tell the story that I've told for years where this gentleman had a broken pipe in his house, and he called in a plumber. Plumber came in, and he said, in about 30 minutes, he fixed everything, got the water stopped, and hands him a bill for $500. And the guy steps back and he says, "I'm a lawyer and I don't make that kind of money an hour." He said, "I didn't make that much money as a lawyer either." So there's an opportunity to improve your future becoming a plumber, electrician, and if you've had any recent experiences, you would understand my story is true. So those are the kind of things we're focused on. There's a lot of people with skills that can be brought to the school, taught the mechanics of the processes, and become great. So we're starting out with this management program, which we think in Laredo, with all the warehousing, everything that's going on here, we have a complete lack of support there. So we're very interested in seeing that happen. Matias Llano was a great friend of the bank, and most of the wealth he's had today that we have the husbanding of was basically his investment at IBC Bank. And so the money that he left into this trust, we were able to convert and use in the community for many worthwhile projects. And so he wanted it focused on Laredo issues, Laredo opportunities. And so we're very dedicated to fulfilling that. And certainly since we knew him, understood him, he was a character. Where those of you who do know Matias was a real character, but he was very focused on education. He was a very religious individual, very much into Catholic charities, and so we've done a lot of things in those areas. And this is a high point for us, we believe, and hopefully we can find some more resources to support some of the other programs we know that you're involved in. So, thank you very much, and I want to thank Dean Hernandez for taking on this project. We need leadership there to do it, and it's critically important that those connect. And so hopefully we'll all be on the same page. So thank you very, very much. We're delighted to be a part of this, and hopefully, as I said, we can find follow-up and additional programs to support and see it 4 or 5 years down the road, see a very robust activity here in the trades, because I believe I've predicted that there'll be periods where we're not going to be able to build things because we do not have people with the skills to do the basic work necessary in the construction industry today, which is critical. As we all know, progress comes from building and erecting new facilities, or remodeling or fixing or rehabbing. All of those things go on, including just basic housing that is part of our lives every day. So thank you, Manita, and I appreciate so much your support.
And if I may, I'd like to ask so today's donation, before we do the check presentation, is directed for our construction management program. And I know the faculty are here, so if the faculty will stand and be recognized. These are the current faculty in all of our construction management program. And so they're all here. Dr. Hernandez, I don't know if you want to introduce them, if you would, please. And just talk a little bit about what does this program mean for the college, and what are these gentlemen in charge of right now?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for this momentous occasion. And yes, to present the team here, we have Dr. Alfonso Hinojosa. He's the director of the construction management program. We have Dr. Lee, Mr. Hugo Ortega. He's construction management instructor. Fairly new to the team. He's our instructor here for construction management. We have Mr. Paul Bretzker, and we have Mr. Emanuel Villanueva as well. And that wraps up the team that we have right now. We are looking at growing the team. We have a volunteer this right now. So, sir, you're now on the list. But the construction management program is very much needed. What we do as a workforce division is we're always on the lookout for what the community needs, what are the needs of the workforce, right? What's needed out there, and this one was on top of the list among others. But it was a priority because of the growth that Mr. Nixon you mentioned, right? Without the management of these projects, everything seems to slow down or stop completely, right? So this was a priority for us. We thank the board members for approving the program, and we thank the administration as well, Dr. Manita. But we do thank, again, from the bottom of our hearts, this donation, because it is not only an investment in the college, but an investment in the lives of our students. And I've been a witness to how much of an impact certificate, even if it's a one-semester certificate, can have on a student's lives. We've had students who complete a one-semester certificate, which, many folks might not think it's anything major, but they use those skills and they start their own businesses, they become entrepreneurs, and they give back to the community, and they change the lives, not only of them, but of their families. So with that, I'd like to, again, thank you, thank the trust, and assure you that your investment will be have a huge return on investment for our students and the community. Thank you.
And with that, we'll unveil the check? Yes? All right. Elisa, did you want to say something, Elisa? I'm sorry. Was I talking?
It's okay. I did want to talk a little bit before we go on to the check. I really want to thank everyone for being here. We really appreciate the attendance and everyone joining us. One of the things that this committee does is really foresee what is needed in the community. And of course, you've already heard from Mr. Nixon, but I formally want to introduce our committee members with Mr. Douglas Howland. Please stand. Mr. Rudy Miles, join us in standing. And Mr. Larry Norton, thank you. One of the things that we also like to share is a little bit of Matias' history in Laredo. Many of you are too young to remember, but definitely Mr. Nixon and all the board members and myself, we remember him very fondly because he was an investor at IBC, a banker at IBC, but he always looking forward to the community, what events were going on. Live, for example, the children's music, Sacred Heart. All of those organizations were very close to his heart. So we want to tell you what he did and what his life was. One of the things that we'd like to go ahead and talk about is that he was born in 1918. So you can understand that he came from way at the beginning of the century, right, when basically the 1900s began. He was one of 8 children that attended Laredo schools, as well as the New Mexico Military Academy, which all this information you're going to find it in the press release, but we do want to share it a little bit more because it's something that is very, very good for us to learn from. He also was a veteran of World War II. His father, Mr. Matias de Llano Sr., was the founder of the Texas Hat Company. The Texas Hat Company made all the straw hats for Texas. They would import and export materials, and then the raw hats, the straw hats, they were completed here in Laredo. And it became very famous because he actually was one of the few companies that was actually raised and started in Laredo. So he worked there. He worked for his father in that employment. And one of the things that Matias de Llano always talked about, he had a zest for life and in helping the disadvantaged. As I just mentioned, he was very close to different organizations. He contributed to many cases in charitable organizations, some of the schools here in Laredo. De Llano also enjoyed many close friendships And I know Mr. Nixon would also talk about that, and he's mentioned that he was a very friendly gentleman. He was always talking about his friendships, and he always cared about his family as well, including friends with his family, friends, and many extensive relationships built through his generosity. This special gift expands his caring legacy that he left us. Just in Laredo, remember, one of the things that we also like to mention is that Matias de Llano mentioned Laredo City, not Webb County. So we're very restrictive on the type of donations that we make because it has to be in the Laredo community. And he also had the opportunity to engage, and he empowered his hometown college, which basically, this is one of the colleges he always was very fond of. And then, of course, now that we have the universities, UT University from the health science, as well as TAMU. Mr. Llano, through his trust, directed his legacy to continue by helping the community where he lived and share his own blessings helping others, especially focused on assisting children and the less fortunate, as we already heard. This trust was established in 2003, and it intends to maintain the corpus of the trust, which is very important because the corpus of the trust is what makes the income, right? If we don't have corpus, we are not able to invest it and create the distributions that we like to do and make sure that everyone is touched on that. So to date, from 2004, we have the trust itself and the committee have donated more than $11 million throughout this last pretty much about 10 years. So this is wonderful. So now for the big check. Please join us.
For those of you that don't know, Ms. Elisa Gonzalez, she's been at the helm of this for a while now, and she's been a great help to us through this process. So we're going to move this podium out of the way.
Sure.